So yesterday we were discussing about pentamidine. I was telling you that it's a relatively dangerous drug when compared to amphotericin B, when compared to SSG. SSG, though it is also no way safe as such, but it is better than amphotericin B and pentamidine. So we discussed about the mechanism of action of the drug, where though it is unclear, it is thought that it will bind with DNA of the parasite and it will end up inhibiting topoisomerases and it will interfere with aerobic glycolysis. Either way, as I was telling you, it can cause a histamine release reaction where a patient will have collapsed cardiovascular system, dyspnea, fainting, palpitation, sharp decrease in blood pressure, hypotension will occur. And I also told you that whenever you give it as an intramuscular, the site of injection itself, you will see tissue necrosis. Okay, so those are some of the problems that are associated with pentamidine. Now, one very important problem that occurs with pentamidine is that it will cause cytolysis of beta cells. It will cause cell death of beta cells of your pancreas. How is this important? Now, normally your beta cells of pancreas are responsible for production of insulin, okay, which is helpful in regulation of glucose, serum glucose. It'll let serum glucose go inside your cells. Now यहाँ पर क्या होता, whenever there is cytolysis of beta cells, initially there is a spike in insulin levels. Okay, whenever beta cell depletion or beta cell cytolysis occurs due to pentamidine, once you have given pentamidine to the patient, beta cell cytolysis begins, and at that point of time insulin production will slightly increase. ठीक है. Mhm. Insulin production increases initially. Okay, this will lead to hypoglycemia. But the problem is that as this damage keeps on compiling, the patient later on, okay, if you keep on giving betabidine for a long period of time, the patient will develop insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. Most of their beta cells will get destroyed and they will develop diabetes mellitus, which is insulin dependent. That is the most significant side effect that occurs with pentamidine, other than the other side effects that I mentioned: histamine release, histamine allergy, or histamine excessive histamine release causing allergic reactions, or kidney and liver damage. It can also cause ECG changes. Rarely it will also cause arrhythmias. Okay. Another important thing is that you have to make sure once you inject the patient, make sure that they are remaining supine for at least 30 minutes to 1 hour. Supine means face up. Okay. When they lie down, they should be supine for at least 30 minutes to 1 hour. Okay. After you give the drug. Now that is about pentamidine. We have other drugs as well. Amphotericin B and ketoconazole we've already discussed in antifungals, so I'm not going into the details of mechanism of action in that. But amphotericin B यहाँ पर liposomal combination देते हैं. So amphotericin B, you will have three different types of dosage forms of amphotericin B. Rather than dosage forms, I would say three different qualities of amphotericin B. One will be liposomal, one will be lipid complex, one will be lipid soluble. ठीक है. Liposomal amphotericin B is good in this case because you want to treat a infection that is present intracellularly. Leishmaniasis के जो parasite रहता inside humans is present intracellularly. In the fly, yeah,
Hello.
yeah, in the fly. Urmila, were you trying to ask a doubt or okay? So as I was telling you, in humans, as I told you yesterday, leishmaniasis में क्या होता, the sandfly which is transmitting this particular parasite, उसके अंदर it is in asexual phase and it is extracellular. Inside the sandfly, it is the sexual phase is extracellular, whereas in humans it is in asexual phase and that will be intracellular. It will generally be present in the macrophages intracellularly. So if you want to kill a parasite which is intracellular, amphotericin B liposomal combination is used. ठीक है, liposomal form is used so that it can form is used penetrate into the cell and get the effect of killing the parasite. Okay, normally the dose that you give, you're having network problem, huh? Audio. Okay, that normally the dose that you give of amphotericin B in this condition will be around 0.5 to 1 mg per kg body weight per day. Now, as such, though amphotericin B is given, it is not used very often. One problem is that it has severe toxicity. ठीक है? Other than that, amphotericin B is a very costly drug. In commercial hospitals, if you go, you will find that one single dosage of amphotericin B costs somewhere around 20 to 30,000, maybe even more, depending on the different type of formulation, depending on the company, depending on the hospital. बहुत महंगा drug है ये. So you generally do not administer amphotericin B very often. Okay, especially if the patient is not able to handle the price and not able to handle the side effects that are associated with amphotericin B, avoid giving it. Then we have the last drug that is used in leishmania, paromomycin. Now, paromomycin is an aminoglycoside. Okay, at least initially it was used as a luminal amebicide, but later on it was withdrawn. It stopped कर दिए थे because of its toxic effects. Afterwards, it was found that it is very very good in case of SSG resistant leishmaniasis. So normally, as I told you yesterday, सोडियम स्टीबोग्लूकोनेट जो है एंटीमोनियल ड्रग वो देते लीशमेनिया में, बट दे आर सेवरल एरियाज इन इंडिया एज वेल, स्पेशली इन बिहार, वेयर एसएसजी resistance has developed. In those cases, paromomycin is very very good used in SSG resistant cases. Okay, so in places like Bihar or in any other place where SSD resistance has developed, IM of this drug can be used. Now, like any other aminoglycoside, this fellow will cause ototoxicity. PK will also be similar. Okay, it causes ototoxicity, can cause increased serum aminases, serum transaminases, ALT and AST, and it can cause injection slight pain at the site of injection. Normally it gets eliminated unaffected or unchanged in feces, meaning it does not undergo metabolism. Absorption is okay. You can generally give intramuscular rather than giving oral. Intramuscular अगर दिए तो absorption is very very rapid, and अगर intramuscular दिए तो dose is the dose that is absorbed that gets excreted through urine. अगर oral दिए, then it gets excreted unchanged in feces. ठीक है, that is the difference. अगर आप oral tablet दे रहे पैरामोमाइसिन का, तो it will get excreted out through feces unchanged, meaning it will not get metabolized. If you give it through IM intramuscular, it will get excreted through urine. Okay, so that is about paromomycin. Gut absorption is poor, that is why it is generally avoided as an oral drug. Okay, now coming to the next drug class, we have antihelminthics. Now, antihelminthics are deworming agents. These are mainly used for worms. अलग अलग टाइप के worms रहते हैं, and इन लोगों का classification भी वैसे ही रहता है. Depending on the worm, you will have different type of drug. Rather than you having drug classes as such, you will find that in antihelminthics, the classification is based on the worm itself. Okay, helminthiasis, which occurs due to these worms, is most common in developing countries. Developed countries में उतना ज़्यादा नहीं दिखता. As such, antihelminthics are of two types. You will have drugs that can kill the worm, they will be called wormicidal agents. Yeah, you will have drugs that can expel the worm out. Take it, they will purge the worm out of the body. Those will be called vermifugal agents. So, antihelminthic agents में दो type है. One is vermicidal agents. ठीक है, that V is correct. Okay, vermicidal वैसे ही लिखते हैं. Vermicidal और वर्मीफ्यूगल या वर्मीफ्यूगल ड्रग्स भी बोलते हैं उसको, ठीक है. These will promote expulsion of the worm. Now, as such, as I told you, there are different types of worms, and corresponding to that, there are different types of drugs. So we'll discuss some of them. So first of all, आपके roundworms. So mainly Ascaris lumbricoids. इसके लिए, see, even in your textbook you will have find that drugs are given as first choice and second choice. इसका मतलब ये है कि first line treatment will be a few drugs. If those are not working, you will give alternative drugs. ठीक है. Now it is up to you. You can memorize. Generally, you will have a repetition amongst drugs as well. ठीक है. Uh, you can memorize one drug from the main class and another from the alternate class, or you can memorize 2 3 drugs from the main class itself. It is up to you. Now Ascaris में आप mainly use करेंगे mebendazole, albendazole and pyrantel palmate. Now you will see mebendazole and albendazole being used a lot. These are broad spectrum antihelminthics, okay, and they are used in a lot of helminthic infections. So one is roundworm, then we have hookworms. Hookworms में आपका ancylostoma आता, ancylostoma duodenale and Necator americanus. इसमें आप again you'll use mebendazole and albendazole. Then we have pinworm infections. Pinworm में आपका आता Enterobius vermicularis. Same again, mebendazole and albendazole. Then we have strongyloid species. Strongyloid stercoralis बोल के एक worm रहता. That worm के लिए you use a different drug. You use ivermectin in that. ठीक है. Strongyloids में you can use ivermectin. You can also use albendazole. Then we have the fifth one, tapeworms, Taenia solium. So you have Taenia solium, saginata, T saginata. ठीक है. इन लोगों के लिए आप यूज करेंगे निक्लोसामाइड. You can use praziquantel. You can use albendazole as well. Please be careful. This is Taenia, Taenia. Taenia बोल के फंगस भी रहता. ठीक है. So you have Tinea. This is a fungal species. Taenia vermicularis बोल के fungal species. You have other species as well, but Taenia is a genus of fungi. Taenia is a genus of worms, helminths. Okay, be careful about the difference. Now, then you have hydrated species or hydrated diseases. Hydrated worms भी बोलते हैं लोगों को. इसमें mainly echinococcus आता. Okay, you'll have echinococcus granulosus, echinococcus multilocularis. इसमें आप यूज करेंगे albendazole. Then we have filariasis, mainly Wuchereria bancrofti and Brugia malai. इसमें आप यूज करेंगे DEC, that is diethyl carbamazine, okay, and albendazole. So these are some of the classes. There are more as well, but these are the significant ones. Okay, this is one way of classifying antihelminthics. This is the more common way of classifying antihelminthics based on the worm that is being treated. उसके basis पे आप drug को classify करते हैं. ठीक है. Now coming to the first and most important drug, mebendazole. This is a broad spectrum antihelminthic. As you saw, it is used in several different infections. Mebendazole. ठीक है. That is why it is called a broad spectrum एंटी हेलमिंथिक ड्रग। ठीक है, अब इसका मैकेनिज्म ऑफ एक्शन ये है कि once it gets inside the body, see helminthic infections or anti-helminthic drugs generally are given as oral drugs. Okay, टैबलेट्स जैसे देते, या आप च्यूएबल टैबलेट्स देते हैं या नॉर्मल टैबलेट्स भी देते हैं. द आइडिया इज दैट once it gets inside the body, rather than getting absorbed, like some of them will get definitely absorbed, but most of these drugs do not have good absorption. The idea is that once it goes through your systemic circulation, whatever amount does reach your large intestine and small intestine where the worm generally inhabits, wahan par it can directly act on the worm, and it can kill the worm or it can remove the worm. Either way, it can either act as a vermifugal agent or it can act as a vermicidal agent. That is why more often than not you will not see any of these drugs being given as IM or IV. Most of these drugs will be given as oral medication, as tablets. ठीक है. Now mebendazole का mechanism of action क्या है? This fellow will bind to beta tubulin. There is a microtubular protein called beta tubulin of the worm, and that protein, or that particular beta tubulin protein, is responsible for glucose uptake. Okay, it plays a role in glucose uptake. As such, whenever you give mebendazole, the result is that it will inhibit glucose uptake inside the parasite. Okay, once the parasite is present inside, let's suppose this is the parasite that is present inside the intestine of the patient. Whatever glucose it is coming across, whatever food you eat, normally intestine se absorb hota. If this worm is present there, that fellow will eat your own food. Okay, whatever you're eating, let's suppose you eat one plate of rice, a lot of the nutrients that are present in that rice will go into the worm, causing the worm to grow. As such, when you give mebendazole, it will block the absorption of glucose inside this worm. So glucose uptake inside the worm is blocked, and it will deplete glucose stores inside the worm. Okay? So whatever little amount of glucose that is present inside the worm, that will get depleted, and glucose will not externally be able to enter inside the worm, leading to the death of the worm. We are basically starving the worm. Okay? So mechanism of action: binds to beta tubulin. This is a microtubular protein. Okay, with high affinity, and inhibits glucose uptake and depletes glucose stores in the worm. Okay, ultimately resulting in the death of the worm. That is the mechanism of action. It is also told that mebendazole has an action in destroying the eggs and larvae of the worm. So it is helping in stopping transmission as well. And it is in some infections, kya hota? These worms, the larvae of these worms and the eggs of these worms, they are able to enter your systemic circulation, and they are able to go to other places and cause an infection there, other places inside your body and cause an infection there. So it is helpful in that case as well. Bebendazole stops or destroys eggs and larvae of the worm which is being treated, because of which transmission stops. Any other secondary condition that can occur, that is also stopped. Now, one very big disadvantage about this drug is its absorption. Okay, it has very poor gut absorption. Poor gut absorption. Bioavailability is around 20%, meaning only 20% of the drug that you give gets absorbed properly. Or to put it in another way, only 20% of the drug reaches systemic circulation to the site of action. Okay? As such, because of this reason, you will have to give multiple doses. Okay? Multiple doses to the extent that, let's suppose आप आज start करें patient को treat करना. Today is Wednesday, right? Let's suppose you have a patient who's coming into the hospital, and you start giving them the drug today. You will see the effect of the drug with after 2 to 3 days. Okay? Because the absorption rate of the drug is so low and the bioavailability is so low, it will take multiple doses of that drug to achieve any significant clinical effects and to achieve any significant what you call bioavailability inside the patient. which generally is shown in 2 to 3 days because of multiple doses. Okay, generally you can give fatty meal with this, okay, to increase absorption. It is given with fatty meal. यहाँ पर fatty meal you can give a slightly greasy meal, or you can give 1 spoon of ghee. There are other drugs as well which will benefit with slightly higher amount of fat being given. ठीक है, अगर थोड़ा high amount of fat रहा तो वो drug का absorption अच्छा रहता. Especially drugs like there are a few antifungals called posaconazole. echinocandins पे आते वो. That drug is also one such drug which requires fatty meal. उसका absorption better हो जाता. So you generally give it with something like ghee or butter. ठीक है, uh, to increase the rate of absorption. Now, as such, this drug undergoes hepatic metabolism. T half is around 3 to 9 hours. Okay. Uh, the fraction that is absorbed inside, as such, put chota amount of fraction gets absorbed systemically, but whatever amount of drug that gets absorbed, that is excreted out of urine and feces as inactive metabolite. ठीक है, अब आप जो ड्रग दे रहे हैं, वेरी लो अमाउंट ऑफ ड्रग इज एक्चुअली अब्जॉर्ब्ड, तो मेटाबॉलिज्म होने का चांस कम ही रहता. बट वॉट एवर डज गेट अब्जॉर्ब्ड इनसाइड द बॉडी, that will undergo hepatic metabolism and it will get converted into an inactive metabolite. That inactive metabolite is excreted through urine and feces. Urine or feces. ठीक है. Now, it is generally a well-tolerated drug, not a lot of side effects associated with mebendazole. The patient will have occasional nausea and abdominal pain. Adverse effects include patient has nausea, mild nausea, abdominal pain. Uh, if there is very heavy infestation, then diarrhea can occur. And if you give a very large dose, that's right, large doses cause allergy, hair loss, and granulocytopenia. Okay, as such a well tolerated drug, but the biggest disadvantage being this, you have to give it for 2 to 3 days before you can see any effect altogether. That is why another alternative to mebendazole was created called albendazole. उसके थोड़े advantages है over mebendazole. Another important thing, avoid this in pregnancy. ठीक है, both albendazole and mebendazole are contraindicated in pregnancy. Avoid in pregnancy. ठीक है, so that is about mebendazole. Now, because of its glaring defect of 2 to 3 days, wherein it will take a long time for you to show any clinical effects, albendazole was created. Albendazole has a few advantages over mebendazole. Those advantages over mebendazole. Okay. Those advantages, first of all, it's that it is better tolerated, fewer side effects, fewer chances of seeing side effects as well. It is effective within a single dose. Unlike mebendazole, where you have to continuously give several doses for you to see um, the significant effect, you will see the clinical effect of the drug within one dose if you give albendazole. As such, it is superior to mebendazole in case of hookworm infections and threadworm infections as well. Superior to mebendazole in hookworm and threadworm infections. Okay. Albendazole also has an effect on other parasites. You can give it for Trichomonas vaginalis. So trichomoniasis में दे सकते हैं आप, giardiasis में दे सकते हैं. You can give it for Fucareria bancrofti. And another thing is that it achieves very good serum concentration. The concentration of albendazole is almost 100 times as much as the concentration of mebendazole. Okay, so active metabolite achieves 100 times more concentration than mebendazole. So these are some of the most important advantages of albendazole over mebendazole. Mechanism of action is same as mebendazole. Now coming to PK properties, this absorption is much better, rapidly absorbed. Fatty food again increases absorption. Fatty meal increases absorption. It undergoes rapid metabolism, liver metabolism, and urinary excretion. Okay. Uh, as I told you, this is a slightly better drug, well tolerated as well, so side effects will be lower as well. T half is around 8.5 hours. 8.5 hours. Okay. Now, if you give a very high dose of albendazole, there can be alopecia. So, adverse effect at high doses, you will have alopecia. The patient might have granular cytopenia, jaundice, especially if you give a high dose for a long period of time. Jaundice, fever, and weakness can occur. As such, sometimes if you see mild adverse effects, it will be the same as mebendazole. You will see nausea, you will see abdominal pain, maybe headache and dizziness. Sometimes, not a lot. Rare to see side effects as such. This drug should also be avoided in pregnancy. Okay. So that is about the first broad spectrum drugs, mebendazole and albendazole. Now coming to parental palmate. Please feel free to ask doubts if you're not understanding anything or if you want me to repeat anything. Okay. Pyrantel palmate acts like a cholinergic drug. ठीक है. अब आपकी body में acetylcholine is a very important neurotransmitter that is responsible for muscle contraction. ठीक है. um, as such, acetylcholine will act through two different types of receptors. You have nicotinic receptors and muscarinic receptors. In worms, in helminths, there is nicotinic receptors. They'll also have muscarinic receptors, but अपने लिए अभी important है nicotinic receptors. Now, as such, inside a human, let's suppose I have some human, and उनके अंदर मैं nicotinic receptors को continuously अगर stimulate करा, if I give a agonist of acetylcholine, cholinergic agent, suppose, ठीक है, what will happen is if nicotinic receptors continuously get stimulated, it will lead to continuous contraction, muscle contraction. ठीक है. Acetylcholine as such causes muscle contraction. अगर muscle acetylcholine दिया मैं, especially near the nicotinic region, it will cause muscle contraction, and the result will be that the patient will not be able to move their muscle. ठीक है. अब समझो आप let's suppose in the patient's arm or somewhere you are concentrating acetylcholine. That arm, the forearm and the arm, both of them will not be able to move properly. They'll be continuously contracted and they'll not be able to move at all. That paralysis is called spastic paralysis. ठीक है. जो paralysis contraction से होता, continuous contraction से, this is called spastic paralysis. ठीक है. Your pyrantel palmoate does the same, but it does this in the worm rather than human. ठीक है. Pyrantel palmoate has an effect where it will stimulate nicotinic cholinergic system. It is a agonist for nicotinic cholinergic receptors. ठीक है. I'll repeat once again. This drug will stimulate nicotinic cholinergic receptors, meaning it will cause continuous contraction, or basically it will cause persistent depolarization, because of which there is continuous contraction. If there is continuous contraction, the worm will get paralyzed. Okay, if it is continuously contracting, the worm will get paralyzed, and the result will be that the paralyzed worm can get expelled out. Now, it will get expelled out through normal peristaltic movement, or it can get expelled out by you giving an external agent. You can give a purgative or you can give a laxative, something to clear their bowels out, and the worm will get out. Okay, you can remove the worm out. That is the mechanism of action of parental palmoid. So, if we write it in a flow chart, second. So, mechanism of action, it stimulates nicotinic cholinergic receptors of the worm. Okay. Whenever there is excessive amount of nicotinic stimulation, it will lead to persistent depolarization. Persistent depolarization ultimately ends up in continuous contraction. If the worm is continuously contracting, it will not be able to move. That particular paralysis is called spastic paralysis. How was that? I didn't get you. If you have a doubt, please put it in the chat. I was not able to hear you clearly. Okay. If the worm is paralyzed, you can expel it out easily. Okay. So that is the mechanism of action of the drug. Now, as such, this drug is also not getting absorbed well. Okay. Only around 10 to 15% of the drug gets absorbed. 10 to 15% of the drug gets absorbed. Okay. You can give this as a chewable tablet or you can give it as a normal tablet as well. Okay. Gets partly metabolized by liver and it undergoes urinary excretion. Okay. You will see adverse effects are not very common, well tolerated drug. If you do see adverse effects, there will be abdominal pain, you will see rashes, sometimes headache and dizziness might occur. Okay. So you will have abdominal pain, rashes, headache, and dizziness. Normally, you give a dose of around 10 mg per kg. Dose is around 10 mg per kg in adults. You will get different tablets of 250 mg. Those tablets are depending on the weight of the patient, you will give accordingly. Okay. So that is about pyrantel palmoid. We'll discuss about piperazine tomorrow. Okay.